What is going on, guys? It is your Monday Night Raw review. I am the Solomonster. It is yet another Monday night. It was championship night. Bron Breakker, Jey Uso, Intercontinental title on the line. And I told you guys, I said, look, don't be surprised if we end up with a championship change here on this show. Jey Uso, one of the most overstars in the entire company. He's coming out there every week. He's yeeting, he's bouncing up and down. He's got the crowd in the palm of his hand. He's selling merch like crazy. And they actually pulled the trigger. They actually did it, and we have a brand new Intercontinental Champion Jey Uso. Beats Bron Breakker clean in the middle of the ring to win his very first singles title in WWE. Nobody, I guarantee you, nobody is more happy at this moment, more than Jey Uso himself, than Rikishi. Rikishi is at home, man. He's busting out the shades. He's doing the old Too Cool dance in his living room as we speak. Rikishi himself is a former Intercontinental Champion, something else that he and his son now have in common. They've held that same championship. Although Rikishi didn't have it for very long, Rikishi had the title for less than 3 weeks. I suspect that Jey Uso may not have it very long either, although longer than 3 weeks, probably. But I don't expect him to have it for quite as long. I thought that the finish was a lot of fun. I thought they had a good match with a great finish, a very crowd-pleasing finish. Obviously, Jey is very over. And so the people in Ontario, California tonight were very happy to see a new champion crowned and maybe surprised. I don't know that there were maybe that many people expecting a title change. But again, I told you guys, I said, look, if I had to venture a guess, I thought Bron was going to retain. But I said, don't be surprised if Jey Uso walks out as the Intercontinental Champion. And if so, it does not harm Bron Breakker. Because I know these comments are going to come. How could they take the title off of Bron Breakker? He just won the championship at SummerSlam, and it felt like they were building to something big with him. Right? He's going to hold it maybe until WrestleMania. Maybe he'll have it for a year. And here's, a great example. Not every champion needs to have a long title reign, because it also doesn't mean that they're not going to get the belt back. This is not the Attitude Era, where the titles were bouncing around every other week, playing hot potato every other week. Bron Breakker is no longer the champion. Guess what? Bron Breakker will once again be the Intercontinental Champion before long. Bron Breakker lost nothing tonight by losing to Jey Uso. And I have said that Bron Breakker, I believe, bell to bell in the ring, is a better wrestler than Jey Uso. I have more fun watching his matches than I do Jey Uso. But Jey Uso and Bron Breakker, there is no comparison as far as who the bigger star is at this moment. And I said coming into the show tonight, Jey Uso has not had a very good year since WrestleMania in terms of wins and losses. He had a World Heavyweight Championship shot at Damien Priest at Backlash. He did not win. He was in the King of the Ring tournament. He didn't make it to the finals. He was in the Money in the Bank ladder match. He did not win. He did not make it onto the SummerSlam card this year. That's why Rikishi was so vocal on his podcast about what are they doing with the Yeet Man? What are they doing with the Yeet Master? What is Triple H doing? And it was curious. Somebody as over as he is, how many more matches, big matches, can this man go in there and lose? At some point, he had to win. And I had people saying, well, the bloodline should get involved. They should have them interfere, and they can cost him the match, and it can lead to bloodline versus bloodline in war games. But I kept telling you people, I said, it doesn't make sense. What sense would it make? All you're trying to do, you're trying to manufacture something that doesn't make any sense. He's had no connection recently to the bloodline. He has had no interaction with them. He hasn't said anything about them. They haven't said anything about him. It would have felt forced. Now, for the Judgment Day to get involved and run in, that would have made more sense than the bloodline. Thankfully, they didn't do that either. I would have groaned at that finish. I'm actually glad we got a clean finish. But here's the thing that people also don't understand, because it was really two things. Number one, Jey had to win a big match at some point. They were really going in hard on this story that he has never won a singles title before. This was like his big goal, right? He's got to win a singles title. He's got to prove that he can do it by himself. And they were really very heavy-handed with it tonight. And the moment that I knew, and you can never be 100% sure, but the moment I became 98% sure that we were going to get a title change in this main event was in the Bron Breakker promo backstage on this show. Because I thought they did a good job of really building to it. They showed them, coming into the building at the beginning of the show. And then we had a backstage interview with Braun. And we had a little segment in the back with Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. So they did a good job of really get you hyped up for that main event tonight. But in the Bron Breakker promo, he was so cavalier. And he was talking about how, Jey, you know what? One day, if you work your way back up into title contention, I'll tell you what. I'll give you another shot at the belt. Just the way that he was talking. I knew as soon as that segment was over, I said, they're doing a title change. Holy shit, they're going to change the title tonight. And that's exactly what they did. So, number one, Jey had to win a big match at some point. Number two, as far as Bron Breakker, if you pay attention to the story of the match and listen to the announcers and just watch the match, they actually did give Braun a little bit of an out. And the out was he was very arrogant. There were different times during the match he would go for a pin, then he would stop and he would do push-ups in the middle of the ring. There was another moment where he went for a cover and, he had, both arms, but then he let one go, pointed at the sky like he knew he was about to win, but then Jey kicked out. They told you that this man was overconfident. He allowed his arrogance to get the better of him. That will be the story coming out of this match. And you heard it from the announcers. You heard Joe Tessitore talk about it on commentary. Also, keep in mind, what happened when Bron Breakker lost to Sami Zayn Money in the Bank? He came back and he murdered that man. I think it was on TV the following week. Days later, he came back and he murdered that man. That's what Braun does. The man walks out there and he's like a killing machine when you piss him off. So this idea that, oh my God, what have they done here to Bron Breakker? How could they do him like this? Why are they burying him? Why are they weakening this man? He's so weak now. No, he's not. He's not. Bron Breakker is just fine. Bron Breakker just lost to one of the most popular stars in the entire company. Top 5. Top 5 most popular stars in the entire company. Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Rhea Ripley, Jey Uso. Boy, I didn't know losing to one of the most popular stars in the company was a career killer. I don't mind them doing the title change. Not everybody has to have 9 months or a year before they lose the championship, or else it's a failure. It's going to be okay. What I'm curious is how long it takes for Braun to get the belt back. Or if Jey now being the Intercontinental Champion does eventually play into the bloodline story in some way, if he is going to be kind of reunited with members of his family in advance of Survivor Series, which I still maintain time is running out. I'm not so sure we're going to get that match this year. We'll see. But it was a nice ending to the show tonight, I thought. We also had Monster Madness break out again. Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed. Couldn't keep these two guys apart. They were beating the hell out of each other, and now we're going to get the actual match next week. Now, remember what I said last week, and I said it on the podcast again this week. And what I say? I said, if you need a stipulation for this match, the one that I think they'll go with, the one that I would go with, is last man standing. Really, it should be a cage match, but I didn't expect them to do a cage match because we have Hell in a Cell coming up. We just had a cage match with Cody and Solo a couple of weeks ago. Last man standing would make sense. Well, now we know that next week on Raw, we will be getting a last monster standing match between these two men. And they had a promo package late in the show. Boy, they put this together real fast, didn't they? After Adam Pearce made his decision. They had this great video package where it was made up like Godzilla and King Kong. And you see Bronson Reed, roaming through the sea. And there's Braun Strowman. Everything they've done with these two men has been fucking great. I'm almost going to be disappointed when it's over next week. But that should end with Bronson, again, Braun and Bronson. I keep fucking up. But it should end with a Bronson Reed win. Because you got to keep him strong for when Seth Rollins is ready to come back. And then we get the Rollins and the Bronson Reed feud. So we had more of that tonight. That was enjoyable. CM Punk was not on the show. Drew McIntyre was. CM Punk was at the show, and he did not come alone. CM Punk was apparently backstage with the one and only Larry the Dog. Larry the Legend, yes, he was backstage at Raw tonight. Perhaps he was going to take a meeting with Nick Khan, very upset that they pulled that bracelet from WWE Shop just so he didn't have to pay Larry his royalties. So we didn't get an on-camera cameo, but they were there apparently in the back. And we heard from Drew, who talked about his upcoming Bad Blood match with CM Punk. And what did he say? I will tell you what he said. We'll get into it here in a moment.
By the power of Valhalla.
But look who it is.
Vintage Coal Tar.
It is Vintage Coal Tar. And it's very appropriate that he was wearing the antlers here in this super chat. The antlers that belong to Valhalla, who used to be with the Viking Raiders. And they had a video tonight. Didn't indicate who it was for. But I do believe it was for the Viking Raiders. So I do believe they're on their way back soon. Again, they didn't specifically mention them, but there was a weird circular symbol with some stuff on the inside. Already people online, oh, it's Penta. Oh, it's Rey Fenix. No, it's not. They're still under contract to AEW. They're not running vignettes on TV for them. If they are still under contract to AEW, use your brain. And also, not only use your brain, but just don't set yourself up to be disappointed like that, okay? The Vikings will be back soon. Penta and Rey will be in eventually. Just give it time. They'll be in eventually.
YEET.
YEET. How very appropriate. David Thiering. It's a great night for it. It's a great night. We're all yeeting. Well, maybe not all of us, but we're yeeting tonight. In celebration of our new champion. Before I get into this show, I do have to mention a bit of news from earlier today. Now, as you know, on Wednesday, Netflix is releasing
It's Samoa BRO.
Hey, Andre, thank you, man, for the Samoa BRO. Netflix is releasing the Vince McMahon docuseries, which is executive produced by Bill Simmons. And Vince McMahon got an early screening of, I guess a partial screening, so I guess he didn't see the entire thing. But he got an early view of his documentary, and he is not happy. Vince McMahon has decried his documentary, and he did something very rare. He actually posted, or the people who represent him, posted a statement from him on his Twitter. He's only posted on Twitter, I think, including today, 3 times in the last, I think, two years or 2.5 years. One of which was his supposed retirement a few years ago. I want to read you this statement from Vince McMahon on his Twitter account earlier this afternoon. This is what he had to say about the Netflix series. I don't regret participating in the Netflix documentary. The producers had an opportunity to tell an objective story about my life and the incredible business that I built, which were equally filled with excitement, drama, fun, and a fair amount of controversy and life lessons, pal. Unfortunately, based on an early partial cut that I've seen, this documentary falls short and takes the predictable path of conflating the Mr. McMahon character with my true self, Vince. You know, the nice guy. The title and promos alone make that evident. A lot has been misrepresented or left out entirely in an effort to leave viewers intentionally confused. The producers use typical editing tricks with out-of-context footage and dated sound bites to distort the viewer's perception and support a deceptive narrative. In an attempt to further their misleading account, the producers use a lawsuit based on an affair that I ended as evidence that I am, in fact, Mr. McMahon. I hope the viewer will keep an open mind and remember that there are 2 sides to every story. You know, Bill Simmons should send him a gift basket because he just gave this documentary the best advertisement that he could have possibly asked for. Because I hear that statement and I think to myself, well, you know what? Maybe this documentary is going to be more fair than I thought. My expectations were kind of low going into Wednesday. But now I'm a little more optimistic about what this documentary is going to look like. Thanks, Vince. Janelle Grant's attorney followed with a statement of her own. Vince McMahon physically and emotionally abused, sexually assaulted, and human trafficked Janelle Grant for more than 2 years. Calling his horrific and criminal behavior an affair is delusional and nothing more than a sad attempt to save his shredded reputation. Although Ms. Grant has not seen the Mr. McMahon docuseries, we hope it shines a bright light on his abhorrent and criminal actions by accurately portraying the realities of his abusive and exploitive behavior. Ms. Grant will no longer be silenced by Mr. McMahon. Her story, though deeply troubling and exceptionally painful, is one that can help other abuse survivors find their voices. We seek to hold McMahon, John Laurinaitis, and WWE accountable, and to give Ms. Grant her day in court. So there you go. Dueling statements here on the eve, well, almost eve. Wednesday is drop day for the documentary. It's, again, 6 episodes, an hour each. I think they're all dropping at once because it's Netflix. And once I have a chance to watch all of them, I will be giving it a review. So for better or worse, we're going to check this thing out and see how it turns out. But anyway, that is the update there. I saw Vince McMahon tweet it. I thought to myself, oh my God, what is this about? I mean, it's a rare thing when you see a Vince McMahon statement pop up on Twitter. But that's about what I would have expected. I had a feeling he wasn't going to like this documentary, which just means that it's probably more accurate than I thought it might be. This is your Monday Night Raw review for September 23rd, 2024. I am the Solomonster. We are closing in on 82,000 subscribers. I think we're right around 81.7 or so right now, so go ahead and subscribe. Make sure the notifications are in the on position. Like the video as well. Super chats are open. You will see them popping up as we go along here. And of course, they are always appreciated. If you want to show your support for what I do and what we do here each and every week on the channel. So Raw kicked off tonight. We had footage of multiple people, including Jey Uso and Bron Breakker, entering the building earlier in the day. But they aired footage of Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan arriving outside the arena in a lowrider. And reminds me, actually, something I wanted to mention. Quick mention here. WWE has a second YouTube channel, for those of you who don't know, and it's called The Vault, WWE Vault. They uploaded a video, I think it was in the last couple of weeks, if it was something that you might be interested in. They have put a ton of videos up, and some of it are classic matches that you can, access on Peacock, but some of it is rare shit from the Vault that they're just kind of picking out and putting out there, like matches and segments. One of them is something they did, I guess, for WWE.com many years ago. This had to be 2003, 2004. It was Michael Cole in a studio somewhere, or it could have been backstage at one of the events, but it was Michael Cole, Eddie Guerrero on one side, Rey Mysterio on the other, and they did their own little watch-along for the Eddie and Rey match at Halloween Havoc in 97. And so, I had never seen this before, and to hear Eddie, just as normal Eddie, just answering questions and talking about his career and talking about the match, it made me miss him, but it was very cool. So if that is something that you would be interested in seeing, go check it out. It's up on the Vault channel right now. It's very cool. So anyway, yes, the lowrider reminded me of Eddie, so I wanted to mention that. So as they were entering the building, Braun Strowman tackled Bronson Reed. So I guess they wanted you to think that maybe they've been brawling all week. The brawl never stopped, I guess, from last week. And he tackled him. They crashed into a random merchandise stand that just so happened to be set up backstage. And not only just backstage, but like backstage right by the garage door. So he tackles him through this merch stand that I guess is for arena staff, I'm going to guess, who has, that they have kids and they want to buy a shirt for their kid. Because you're not going to get any fucking freebies from this company. No free rides here. You got to buy a shirt, just like everybody else. I'd like to think that's why the merch stand is back there. So Dom and Liv, they make their way to the ring. The camera follows them. Liv said that her revenge tour is going according to plan. Rhea Ripley came out. Huge reaction for Rhea. I would argue, I said it at the beginning, I would argue that she is the fourth biggest star in this company right now. Maybe fifth behind Jey Uso. But top five's got to be Roman, Cody, Punk, Rhea, and Jey. Put them in whatever order you want. That's your top five right there. This woman comes out there, she just exudes superstar. So she told Liv to shut up. Dom stepped in front of Liv.
I am the learning.
Shut the fuck up. Stepped in front of the learning tree. Fuck that tree. Hey, Sidro. It's good to hear from Sidro and Donnie Yasu. So Rhea told Liv to shut up. Dom stepped in front of Liv, and Rhea laughed and said, "Look who found his cojones." And Liv said that Dom may have stayed with Ripley if she cared half as much about him as much as she does Damien Priest. So then she brought up Rhea's knee injury, and Liv said that she would beat Ripley at Bad Blood because she's smarter than her. Rhea announced that she has been medically cleared, so her knee is no longer an issue. But that's not the only reason that she was out here. She had another announcement. And this announcement comes directly from Adam Pearce, the general manager. At Bad Blood, Dominic is once again going to find himself behind bars. Because, and by the way, when she said this, Dom's reaction was great. So you gotta see his reaction, because as soon as she mentioned him being behind bars, he's so panicked. And he looks at Liv and he just starts saying, "I can't go back. I can't go back." Bro is having flashbacks here. So Rhea explained that Dom is going to be hanging above the ring in a shark cage for her women's championship match against Liv Morgan, so that way he can't get involved, even though you and I both know he will find a way to get involved. He'll drop something. I mean, you know, he'll be able to fit through the bars. It's like a cage match, right? Why do you do a cage match? Because you want to keep people from interfering in the match. You want to keep the people in the ring in the cage, and you want to keep people from coming into the cage. I would say the cage has about a 4% success rate in keeping people out of it, typically in wrestling. So you know that it probably will not keep him neutralized in the way that they think. Ripley said that she would win back the title that she never lost, and then she dropped Liv with a headbutt. I was expecting something like that as far as Dominic. You knew he was going to be ringside in some way, so it was just a matter of, are they going to announce a formal stipulation? Is it going to be something where he's banned from ringside? I didn't think they were going to ban him, even though, I mean, if you think about it, right? Wouldn't that make more sense? Put your logic cap on here for a second, okay? If Adam Pearce was so worried about Dominic interfering in Liv's match, right? He doesn't have a manager's license. Remember the old days? He needed a manager's license. But if this is a real big concern of his, why doesn't he just ban Dominic from ringside? Why do they have to go through the effort of constructing and transporting this shark cage and suspending this human being 15 feet above the ring? It's just, it's silly. But he's as much a part of this story as anybody, so of course they want him there for the match. Honestly, them adding this stipulation only makes me think even more that Liv Morgan is going to retain this title. And if I were booking this, I think I would have her retain the women's championship. I think I would have her go over. You know, again, Dominic can somehow, get involved in the match. It's not going to be a clean win. But I think you give Liv the win. I think I would keep this going for a little bit longer, because I was thinking about this. If you ended at Bad Blood, and I don't know, maybe it would be an appropriate place to put a cap on it finally, but I still think there's juice to this feud, even if just for a couple more months. So I would keep it going, but let's say they don't. Let's say Rhea goes over and Rhea regains the women's championship. What is Rhea going to do? Like, what do you do with her between now and WrestleMania? Is she just going to kind of fall into this rut? basically like what the situation was with her before when she was the women's champion, where, you know, she would have a match every now and then, but she wasn't even wrestling that often. And it wasn't like she was in the ring with people that you honestly believe had a chance against her. They had like no opponents for her. So even though I think Rhea is great, it was a very boring run that she had as champion. Like if I put you on the spot right now, and I'm not talking about her WrestleMania match where she won it or where she retained it. Take WrestleMania out of the equation. If I put you on the spot and I said to you right now, I want you to think back, what was the most memorable match or the most memorable thing that happened during Rhea Ripley's run as champion? Give me a couple of really big memorable matches that she had. I would bet you that most people would not be able to answer that question, wouldn't be able to answer it within 10 seconds. They'd have to really think. Off the top of my head, I could think back to the match with Nia, you know, I guess in Australia at Elimination Chamber, but it's not like there's a whole lot to choose from there. It was a very forgettable run. So if you put the belt on her now, I just question whether or not Triple H has anybody waiting in the wings, anything compelling for Rhea Ripley between now and WrestleMania. Would it not make more sense to keep the belt on Liv for another 2 or 3 months? And then have Rhea win the belt back. I think that would be the better play. What else do you do with her? Who does she feud with? Who's ready right now on Raw to step in and feud with Rhea Ripley and challenge her for the championship? We had Sami Zayn one-on-one with Ludwig Kaiser. There was a spot where Sami jumped up on the timekeeper's barricade, and before he could moonsault off, Kaiser shoved him forward, and Sami took a header right into Samantha Irvin's chair. And I thought Testator sold it great.
Why does he hate Punk so much? What did he ever do to him?
Hey, Uffman Entertainment with the $40 CM Punk super chat. I don't hate Punk. I hate Larry. No, I got nothing but love for Larry. Larry's okay. Larry has been in some traumatic situations before, so we can't hate on Larry. So anyway, Testator sold that spot great when Sami took that header into the leather chair.
YEET.
Could be one of those nights. Pisco, thank you for the YEET. The $11 super chat. Sami fought back, hit a sunset flip powerbomb for 2. He went for the haluva kick. Kaiser slipped out of the ring and drove Sami into the steel steps. Then he did his run around the ring spot. He drop kicked Sami into the steps. Sami barely beat the 10 count back into the ring. He fought back, but Kaiser raked the eyes and applied a cradle. A bit of a Kaiser roll, you might say. But he had his feet on the ropes, and the referee caught it at just the last second. Kaiser argued with the referee, so Sami grabbed him and hit an exploder into the corner. He tried for the haluva kick again. This time, Kaiser caught him with an enziguri. Zayn countered a DDT into a German and finally hit the haluva kick for the win. Good match, which brought out an angry Gunther. He was not happy that Ludwig Kaiser lost this match, but here comes Gunther. He's in his gear. He's dressed for a match. He's got the World Heavyweight Championship around his waist. And he storms down to the ring. He teased giving Sami the world title shot that he's been asking for now for the last several weeks. He's going to give it to him right here, tonight, in Ontario, California. And the crowd loved that idea, and Gunther knew that they would, and then he smirked like the little shit that he is, and he said, "My answer is no." And everybody booed. He chuckled too. He chuckled to himself. He was very proud of himself. Not quite as proud, probably, as the Goldberg line from a few weeks ago with Bret Hart, but he was very proud of himself. He's just such a brilliant asshole. Such a brilliant asshole heel. And I don't know that this match is going to be happening at Bad Blood. What I'm thinking now, because Bad Blood is, how many more weeks away is Bad Blood? Less than 2 weeks. I'm thinking that the place for this match is going to end up being Crown Jewel. I wouldn't do it on TV. It deserves to be on a PLE. Bad Blood has 5 or 6 matches already. That's the number that Triple H typically, I think it's at 5. That's the number Triple H likes to keep it at. I think he could easily add a 6th match. There's nothing wrong with that. The world is not going to fucking end if he has a 6-match show. But they love Sami in Saudi. They love him on those Saudi shows, and, doing that match on that show, you could potentially headline with that. You can close the show with that, possibly. But just imagine the near falls in that match and the reaction that it would get, from the crowd over there. So I could definitely see them holding off on that until Crown Jewel. It just doesn't feel to me like this is destined to be on the Crown Jewel card. But if it's going to be, we only got one more Raw before the PLE. So they can't wait much longer to let us know if it is going to be on that show. Backstage, Kofi Kingston approached Xavier Woods, and they made peace after what happened last week. Remember, Woods was not very happy. He had pushed Kofi away. Very upset after their loss. Kofi brought up New Day's 10-year anniversary, which is coming up in November, and he says he went and dug up some classic items from over the years. And he had some boxes of Booty-O's cereal. He had Francesca the trombone. Woods said that those things were great when they were on top, but they haven't been champions in 3.5 years. They haven't been winning lately. So he said they need to get back on track. And Kofi agreed and said that it didn't make sense to go backwards, and he admitted to not making the best decisions lately. And Woods said, "You said it, not me." Take that, Odyssey Jones. That was one of Kofi's decisions. Just completely burying him here. By the way, still no update on him. Just gone. Tony D called in a favor. We haven't heard from him since. So Kofi said, you know what? For the next few weeks, when it comes to New Day business, you be the QB. You call the shots. And Woods was fine with that. Chad Gable showed up with the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile, and he mocked them. He held them up for the Creeds as examples of what not to do. So Kofi challenged the Creeds to a match later, which they accepted. And after American Made left, there was a man who showed up with a plate of pancakes, but Kofi spotted him before Woods did, and he gave him the cut sign and told him to get out of here. And the crowd popped for that. Odyssey who? It's right. Odyssey who? Remember the Royal Rumble in 92 after Hogan and Sid got into it after the match, and there was a fan in the crowd with a sign that said Hulk who? And Sid's like, Hulk who? And Hogan was shook. He didn't know how to react to that. We had Dragon Lee.
Look, everyone, it's Samoa Bro.
Against Samoa Bro. I got my money on Samoa Bro. Samoa Bro has gotten more time and exposure here than Dragon Lee has. Probably for the last 6 months. It was Dragon Lee up next against Carlito. Dominic and JD McDonough, they took out Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde, so Rey Mysterio suddenly appeared and wiped them out with a dive off the barricade. Dragon Lee used the distraction to follow up with his version of the Destino to pick up the win in about 2.5 minutes. This was Dragon Lee's first televised win since June. Remember when he first debuted on the main roster? It was on SmackDown. And he was getting a nice little push for himself. And he started to get over. His matches were getting over. And then they moved him over to Raw and he joined the LWO. And everything just seems to have fallen apart since then. There was a period of months where he didn't appear. No explanation for why. Like, I didn't see anything reported anywhere. Was it a visa issue? Was there an injury? Like, no idea. He just up and vanished. There was certainly no storyline explanation for it. But his first televised win since June, and he used to feel like a special talent. You know, when he first came to NXT, he came in with a lot of fanfare. His signing was made out to be a big deal. I don't know what happened. I don't know why it went sideways for him. But they've got some work to do, I think, to get him back even to the level that he was at back then. He's still not there. Like, we know the talent that he has. We know how much of a star he was in Mexico, you know, before he signed with WWE. And even in NXT, he got a nice push down there as well. He's not even back to that level yet. So they've got some work to do to try to get him back there. And as far as Carlito goes, Carlito is there for one reason and one reason only. He's there to collect a paycheck. And hey, there's nothing wrong with that, but that's the only reason he's there. You go and you put in the bare minimum effort, you do what you're told, you do what you got to do, and you get out of there. That's Carlito in WWE. Stan the Man. A $25 super chat. Kathy Kelly interviewed Sheamus backstage, and he kept referring to Pete Dunne as Butch. He said they have a score to settle, and as his ancestors always said, there was nothing more dangerous than an Irishman with a score to settle. Later in the back, there was a commotion. I'm skipping ahead to the sequel to this segment because later in the show, Adam Pearce is summoned over to this commotion that's going on in the back, and it turns out that Sheamus is on the ground, and Pete Dunne is standing over him, and he is cracking a cricket bat over his back. And officials end up carrying Dunne away and getting him away from Sheamus as he is yelling at Sheamus, "Don't call me Butch." I wish he would have done that to Vince when he first got called up to the main roster and found out that they were calling him Butch. Could have taken that cricket bat right upside his fucking head. Now, we were supposed to have a match between Bronson Reed and The Miz. That was the scheduled match, but Braun Strowman saved us from that. Bronson Reed comes down to the ring. Before he can even get into the ring, he turns to his side, and there's Braun Strowman standing on top of the barricade, and he jumps off, and he tackles him to the ground. The Miz then goes outside. He confronts Strowman. "What are you doing? This is my match." Because remember, the storyline now with The Miz is he feels like nobody respects him. All he does is go out there and lose. He's got to try to turn things around. This was going to be his moment to go in there and prove that he could beat a monster. So he was very upset, and he and Strowman are arguing back and forth. Meanwhile, Bronson Reed is in the ring, and now here he comes. He comes flying through the ropes, and he wipes both of them out. Reed goes up to the top rope because he and Strowman now are in the ring, and they're fighting it out. So Reed is going up for the tsunami splash. A bunch of security geeks run out. He knocks one of them down to the mat. He grabs another one from the apron and throws him down onto the other geek who's already on the mat. And then Reed comes off the top and pancakes both of them with a tsunami splash. And dude, the guy on the bottom of that pile there got crunched. I mean, that probably was not a fun bump to take. So Strowman also had to fight off a whole bunch of security geeks. After clearing the ring, they looked at one another. They were about to clash again. There was another wave of security that ran out. They too got cleared from the ring. One of them got thrown out of the ring by Strowman, right? So he goes through the ropes. Actually, he takes this bump out. I think it was over the top. And this huge bump. Once he hits the floor, he had to add a little something extra to it. So he did this over-exaggerated extra roll just to stand out a little bit more. So then Reed and Strowman, they charge at each other. We get a double clothesline. Security now mobs Strowman. He's fighting them off. Then he catches Reed, who was climbing the ropes. Strowman was setting up for a superplex. Security, though, pulled him down. Strowman broke free. He drop-kicked Bronson out of the ring, and then Strowman roughed up even more security geeks. So he climbs the ropes now, because the idea is that Bronson Reed is on the outside with a bunch of security, and so you got a pile, and it looks like, holy shit, this guy's going to do a dive, and he's going to wipe out the pile. But Reed sees this, and he backs up the aisle, so there was no dive, thankfully. Got to save that for the match next week. So he backs up down the aisle. They're staring at each other from afar. And, man, here I was looking forward to The Miz wrestling Bronson Reed. Thank you, Braun Strowman. This was a lot more fun than that probably would have been. I got to say, this angle is single-handedly keeping more independent wrestlers employed than all of the independent promotions in this country put together. Every single week, it is just security geek after security geek after security geek. You know, when this angle is over, I don't know what these people are going to do. Unbelievable. Every single week. The army of men that are sent out there to get their asses kicked. Now, backstage later on, Adam Pearce was with Jackie Redmond, and he announced that Bronson Reed and Braun Strowman, this has to end. So they're going to have a match next Monday night, but it's not going to be any ordinary match. It's going to be last monster standing. That is the official stipulation for the match. As I told you, it would be because it's the stipulation outside of a cage that makes the most sense. That way you don't have to get pinned. Think about what they've been doing over the last 3 or 4 weeks, right? They've been beating the shit out of each other, tackling each other. They fall down, they get back up. I mean, they practically told you it was going to be a last man standing match. So they're going to do the same thing next week. There's no rules. There's no disqualification, no count out, so you can brawl all over the place again, which is fucking great. I love it. I think it's fun to watch these two brawl all over the building, into the stands, into the backstage area, into the parking lot. They can go into the basement. Maybe they'll go onto the roof, like Hogan and the Giant at Cobo Hall. I mean, there's so many things they could do next week. But the match will only end when one man cannot respond to a 10 count. Braun Strowman can lose, and he loses nothing from being unable to get back to his feet before a 10 count. Bronson Reed should win this feud. I expect him to. And I'm going to be sad when it's over because this is almost like a little side quest, right? We had Bronson Reed destroy Seth Rollins. That's how this thing started. He was sick and tired of not getting opportunities. He told Adam Pearce, I guess I'm going to have to take one for myself. That's how this story started. 7 tsunami splashes. He flattened Seth Rollins. That's what got this party started. Ever since then, every single week, he is just wreaking havoc. He beat R-Truth. Same thing. Squashed him a few times. We haven't seen R-Truth since. So everything they've done with Bronson Reed has been fantastic. Braun Strowman has been the beneficiary of that because he's been roped into this. And this is the best stuff he's done since they brought him back to the company. So all around, this has been a success, but it feels like something to do until Seth comes back. That's why I called it a side quest, but it's been great. So when it's over, I'll be bummed, but this has been just an incredible turnaround for Bronson Reed, who has been, hanging around now all year. But they haven't really done anything of any great note with him until this. My only hope is that once Rollins comes back, I would have him beat Rollins. When Seth comes back, he should beat Seth Rollins. And then Rollins can, come back and get his win back. Because I know the plan is probably to build Rollins for CM Punk at WrestleMania. But go all the way with this push. Don't just end it when Rollins comes back. We didn't really intend for this, so, it's only temporary. No, like you've created a must-see attraction on this show. It feels to me like when Bronson Reed comes out there, I sit up a little bit in my chair like, all right, what are they going to do with him this week? What fun spot have they concocted here for him to be a part of this week? Who is he going to destroy this week? When he shows up, you know that chaos and carnage are going to follow. I hope that continues even long after Seth Rollins comes back, whenever that may be. I have no idea. I saw Rollins was at the football game, right? He was at the Bears game over the weekend, and he did a little angle with, I don't know who it was. I think an ex-player threw him over the wall in the stadium. They threw him over the wall onto the field. I'm like, don't tear an ACL. I would expect him to be back soon. But they aired that great promo I mentioned at the beginning of the stream later in the show, right before the main event. They aired this video. And it was Bronson Reed, like Godzilla, walking through the sea, and then straight across is Braun Strowman stomping through the city. And then they even did the animation like the Godzilla face. Godzilla versus King Kong. What have I been calling it now for weeks? It's exactly what I've been saying here on the reviews. It's like Godzilla versus King Kong. This is their version of that. It's exactly what it is. That's what makes it so fun. Why do you think those movies make $1 gazillion? Because people like to go to the movie theater and they want to see two monsters just destroy each other. It's the easiest thing in the world to sell. Drew McIntyre was out to the ring to respond to CM Punk's promo from last week, that very serious, stoic promo that he cut. Uh-oh. We'll be right back after these messages. God, one of the worst. That was one of the most awkward segments in the history of SmackDown. That's just a classic Vince McMahon segment is what that is. Never fails to make me laugh. Maybe that was the point. Maybe it was meant to be comedy. That is our new $27 super chat, by the way. They're all listed down in the description. There's many different ones. So they're all listed down there for you. So McIntyre was out. Remember Punk's promo last week? Promised to make Drew McIntyre bleed. And he also said that he was prepared to die inside Hell in a Cell if he had to. So Drew's been thinking about everything that Punk said, and he knows that Punk meant every single word of it. And for once, he was real. Punk was real. He was ready to sacrifice himself for this to end. And so is he. McIntyre said that he always tells the truth. He did not want to go back inside Hell in a Cell. It has broken things inside of him that have yet to be fixed. Now, if I remember, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't believe that Drew McIntyre has ever won a Hell in a Cell match. I believe he's been in a handful of them, and I don't believe he's ever won one. So if I am wrong, somebody will let me know that. So he said that Punk's sisters have begged Punk not to do this match. Punk's wife begged Punk not to do this match, just like Punk said in his promo. And Drew said his family has too. His wife has begged him for months to get away from Punk because she can see what this is doing mentally to her husband. And also probably telling McIntyre because she knows that Punk is just, one muffin away from flipping out on her husband, and we have, brawl out too. But he said it doesn't matter what their families think. It doesn't matter what the fans think. It doesn't even matter what they think. He says that this match is going to happen at Bad Blood, and he's got some promises of his own. He promises that he is going to make Punk bleed a lot. He promises that he's going to make Punk feel more pain than he has felt in his entire existence. Punk compared himself to the devil again last week. Of course, he said Punk has to compare himself to a godlike figure. But he's just a man. He's a man that he has broken in the past and a man that he will break permanently inside Hell in a Cell. So this was on the level of the devil from last week. This was a very similar promo to the one that Punk cut. Punk came out there. He was very stone cold serious. Looked dead in the camera. Told Drew exactly what he was going to do to him. This has to end. I'm going to make you bleed. And if a babyface is making that kind of promise, he's going to deliver on that. Well, McIntyre threw it right back at him twofold and said, I'm going to make you bleed more. So we're going to get some blood inside Hell in a Cell, the way it should be. But yeah, this is the blow off. I mean, this is what it all has been building to. It's been building to this match. It has to end inside the cell. That's the entire purpose of the cell. And if you're going to blow it off, then you know what? Blood and violence and all that stuff, then that's what the situation calls for. One thing I will mention. I've been saying that I feel like that match should close the show. I think Hell in a Cell, this feud has been going on now for a number of months. It would be an appropriate match to end the night with. Now we have a report from Fightful. Because later in the show, they replayed the entire segment from SmackDown on Friday night from the field at Georgia Tech with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes, it was cinematic in nature, and the way it was shot, it was very well done. It was a very good segment. So they re-aired the entire thing later in the show here tonight. But Fightful has a report out saying that as of last week, the match that is slated to close the show and headline is Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes against Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa. And I understand it because Roman and Cody are the two biggest stars in the entire company. It's like, I guess, I hate making comparisons, but it would basically be like a modern day, to this audience, like a modern day Mega Powers, right? The two biggest baby faces in the company joining forces together as a tag team. So I get it. And they're in Atlanta, right? Cody's backyard. And so I get it. But it tells me that there's probably a big angle that they're going to shoot. Maybe not. Maybe again, it's just the fact that it's Roman and Cody, but there could be a big angle. There could be a heel turn. They may have something planned where it's like, no, we have to end with this. This would not be appropriate to do in the opening match. This has to end the show. So we'll see what they have in store. But that just tells me Hell in a Cell may open the show. They may actually open Bad Blood with the Hell in a Cell match. We had Io Sky and Kairi Sane against Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. They isolated Kairi for a bit. This was Kairi's first match since she got stitches above her eye a few weeks ago. So they isolated Kairi, but she eventually made the hot tag to Io, who worked over both heels. Io played to the crowd, got them all hyped up. And she hit a springboard drop kick to both Alba and Isla. For the finish, Kairi went to the top, hit a standing Alba Fire on the floor with an insane elbow. At the same time that Io went up top and hit her over the moonsault to Isla Dawn and pinned her. This was the first time where you can really see Io playing to the crowd and them responding in a major way. Like, people were on their feet, they were cheering for her. This is the first time where Damage Control, to me, really came across as, okay, they're baby faces now. You know, Io in particular. Io is super over right now. And before this match, in the back at the gorilla position, they told Jade and Bianca, we're coming for those women's tag team titles. That's the only really kind of compelling match at the moment that I think they could even do for those women's tag belts. Damage Control and Bianca and Jade. What other match is there for Bianca and Jade? I mean, it's ridiculous. I've talked about this before. The issue with the women's tag team titles, tag team division, there isn't much of one. So Damage Control and Bianca and Jade is really the biggest match right now that they can do. You know, Bianca and Jade, they just got the belts back. So I'm not sure if they would take them off them this quickly. But Io and Kairi, you know, they're over. They're over. And they're more of a real team than Bianca and Jade is. Yeah, because they've been together longer. So I don't know. I don't know if we might get a title change when they eventually meet. You know, we'll find out. But this really was. This was the first time where it felt like, okay, now they've been accepted as, you know, big baby faces here on the roster. Row Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Oh, he's rowing Roman. Row Roman Reigns gently down the stream. Gently down that stream. There goes Roman Reigns, everybody. That was Alex? It had to be Alex. Alex loves that super chat. That was a real sign, by the way, in the crowd. It's a very clever sign. We don't get that many creative signs anymore. I miss that. If you're going to bring a sign, you got to make it creative or make it a sound-off sign. That's the best sign. The best sign is a Solomonster sounds-off sign. Those are the ones I love the most. So Kathy Kelly was in the back to interview Bron Breakker. Bron said that it was game day, which meant the dogs were barking in Ontario, and you can hear all the fans barking. It also meant that there would be a winner and there would be a loser. The championship deserved the right superstar to carry it over their shoulder, and it wouldn't be Jey Uso. Bron said that somebody was getting their ass kicked and it wasn't going to be him, but he was willing to offer Jey another shot at the title down the road when he worked his way back up the ladder, because Bron was going to be champion for a long time. Again, this was the segment where it just clicked for me, like, okay, they're really doing this. You know, they're really going to change the title tonight. This is the segment that gave it away. Then they aired that video I mentioned with Roman and Cody from Georgia Tech the other day in its entirety. We had the New Day against Brutus and Julius Creed. Again, just like last week, Kofi out there wearing green, Xavier Woods wearing all black. Julius gave Kofi a superplex. At the same time, Woods gave Brutus a superplex. That was ahead of the commercial break. Later on, Woods made a hot tag. The referee, though, didn't see it. So he forced Kofi back to his side of the ring, and the two of them were arguing while Woods was getting destroyed by Chad Gable, who was outside the ring, and both members of the Creeds. Woods did eventually get the hot tag. Kofi wiped out both Creeds with a trust fall dive. Julius ducked a Trouble in Paradise, but Kingston countered the counter and hit him with Trouble in Paradise anyway. So he had the match won, but Woods is like, give me the tag. Xavier Woods wants to be tagged into the match, so Kofi tags him into the ring. Kofi goes and wipes out Brutus on the floor. Woods goes to the top. He's going to set up for that springboard elbow that he does. Chad Gable, though, distracts him. And Xavier Woods, like an idiot, takes the bait and jumps down from the top rope. Woods drags Gable into the ring. He drags him over the top rope into the ring, and he loses his cool. He's got a look on his face like he's about to snap. And he starts to stomp a mud hole in this guy in the corner. I mean, he is stomping the shit out of this guy in the corner, to where if Chad Gable was a legal participant in this match, and this was the Vince McMahon days, we would have gotten the old disqualified for kicking too much ass finish. But Gable was not technically part of the match, so that would have been dumb. Although not that much more dumb than what we saw on SmackDown Friday night when Kevin Owens got sent into the ring steps and the referee called for the disqualification. That was dumb. So when Woods finally stopped kicking ass, Julius caught him with a knee strike. Kofi tried to make the save. He got knocked out of the ring, though. And the Creeds finished off Woods with the Brutus Ball, the assisted Brutus Ball. Julius got him up in a powerbomb position. Off the top rope came Brutus with the ball, not his balls, but with the ball. And he pinned Xavier Woods. Woods losing this was expected. That's what I expected coming in. They're continuing to tell this story of his frustrations getting the better of him. And look, he's got nobody to blame but himself. Kofi had the match won. It was Woods who said, give me the tag. Kofi gave him the tag. It was Woods who dropped the ball and fucked the whole thing up. So he's got nobody to blame but himself. Later on in the back, Woods and Kingston were backstage when Rey Mysterio and the LWO approached them. And Rey apologized for what happened last week. Woods dismissed it. And Rey said, look, I know you guys can get through it. You're the New Day. You can get through this. So Woods said this type of advice would be better suited for your son. And Rey said, look, I don't have time for this. I got to deal with Finn Balor next week. So Woods was offended that Rey thought that Balor was more important to him. Oh, because he's a former world champion? He's more important to you? And then he got very upset because Kofi's like, dude, it's a misunderstanding. Just calm down. So he thinks everybody is ganging up on him and everybody's better than him because they've all been world champion. Rey Mysterio's been world champion before, right? Kofi's been world champion. Balor's been world champion. Says people disrespect me. They don't take me seriously because I've never held a singles title before. Rey had enough. He said, you know what? Balor could wait. You want me next week? You and me, one-on-one next Monday on Raw. So the LWO left, and Kingston didn't understand why Woods was so upset. And of course, Woods thought that he was in the right. I still think we get Big E back on TV before the anniversary. So we got another month or so of this, I think, before that happens. But I do think we'll see Big E back on TV before long. But I like the angle, though. Again, this is the most interesting that the New Day has been in years. Literally years. This is the most interesting thing that they have done with the New Day. We got a Damien Priest video package. So Priest and Balor were not on the show tonight. Outside of this video. He recalled using the phrase, am I my brother's keeper? When he was younger. He talked about how life brought him to the Judgment Day. And it was a crew that became a family. That family gave him a brother in Finn Balor. Priest said Balor always wanted it to be about himself. Priest said that Balor had a face of envy when Rhea Ripley became a world champion. He said no one acted happier on camera when he won the world championship than Finn Balor, but he was the first person out the door with a face of envy when the cameras were off. Priest asked if he is his brother's keeper. He said he is, always will be, but Balor is not his brother. And then he spoke in Spanish, and that was the end of the segment. We got a new Uncle Howdy video, although there was no voice. There's a bunch of words on the screen. It was a VHS tape with words on the screen. This is what it said. I am but dust, a worm, a rebel. You cast your light of countenance upon me, and said I shall live. The words of the red you speak, we follow. Still waiting on that Alexa Bliss return. I assume that that's what this is all in reference to. Is the upcoming return of Alexa Bliss. I mean, it would make sense for her to be involved in this in some way, given her history with Bray. And then it was main event time. And speaking of main event, it was main event Jey Uso. Entering from the concourse, surrounded by fans, that great visual of him being mobbed by the fans, to challenge Bron Breakker for the Intercontinental Championship. It's the advantage of doing a match like this on Raw, as opposed to Bad Blood. They can close the show with it. If you think about it, if they put this match on the card at Bad Blood, it's going to be, in the middle of the show somewhere. Almost every match on that card is bigger than this. Balor and Priest, that's an issue that has a lot of history behind it. Same thing with Rhea and Liv. You've got the main event, obviously, with Roman and Cody against the Bloodline. You've got a Hell in a Cell match. That's a lot of competition for Breakker and Jey to be up against. If you want this to really have the kind of attention that you want it to have, if you think about it, it would be better for it to close an episode of Raw like it did tonight, rather than just kind of be stuck in the middle of a show with matches that are much bigger than it. So, I mean, I can understand it. I can understand the logic behind doing it this way. There's pros and cons to it. But I get why they would want to do it. Plus, they need big matches for TV. That's just the reality of wrestling now. It's 3 hours every Monday, 2 hours every, soon to be 3 hours. Every Friday, 2 hours every Tuesday. Give it time, by the way. Give it time. Eventually, NXT will be 3 hours as well. In 5 years, at the end of their deal with the CW, when NXT returns to USA Network, they'll give it a fucking third hour. So Jey hit a suicide dive 90 seconds into the match, heading into a commercial break. Bron hit a power slam after the break to take control. Then he started whipping Jey back and forth into each corner. And each time he would, just with as much just velocity as he could muster, he would whip him into the corner, and you would hear that steel sound, like the buckle snapped. Every time he whipped him into the corner and made that noise. Then they each took turns trying to suplex the other until Bron dropped Jey and ended up draping him over the top rope. Bron hit a backbreaker, but let go of his cover to do some push-ups. This was a running story here in this match where he allowed his arrogance to get the better of him. Multiple times here during this match, it looked like he was overconfident, he wasn't taking Jey Uso seriously. This was one of those moments, and the announcers were sure to point that out on commentary. So he taunted Jey, who came back with a kick. He tried a suicide dive. Bron knocked him down. Bron smashed his head against the announce desk. Then he got up on the apron, and he jumped off and tackled Jey over the desk, which took us into another commercial break. Jey came back with a running hip attack. Bron avoided a splash, hit a gut buster for 2. Jey hit a pop-up Samoan drop for 2 of his own. So Jey Uso ends up on top, and Bron sees him, runs the ropes, hits a Frankensteiner, takes Jey Uso all the way down to the mat, covered him, only got a 2 count. So now both men are back up, and they are trading shots. Breakker got the gorilla press into the power slam, hooked the leg, and Jey kicked out. Before the ref could even hit 3, Bron took his arm and was pointing up. Again, the announcers pointed out, being very arrogant. Jey rolled out to the floor, and Bron Breakker went out after him, and he speared him. So he put Uso back in the ring, and now Bron's back inside. The straps come down. Okay, now he's going to finish this guy off. When the straps come down, you know the finish is on the way. So he hits the ropes, but Jey spears him instead. And Jey goes up to the top. Now the fans are feeling it. Now the fans are getting up. They can sense that the end is near. Hits the Uso splash. He hooks the leg. 1, 2, and Breakker, I swear to God, he got that shoulder up. You could not have waited any longer than he did. It was a great near fall because I thought he had it. And so did the fans. I mean, he waited as long as he possibly could before kicking out. Breakker, though, was back to his feet before Jey was. Like, he rose up like the Undertaker used to, and he had a pissed off look on his face. And now he's back up on his feet before Jey, and he is seething. He sent Jey outside, ran around the ring for another spear, but Jey cut him off with a super kick before he could hit the move. Then Jey speared Bron through the timekeeper's barricade. And then he quickly got him back in the ring, and he speared him again. The 3rd spear from Jey Uso. And people want to sit here and tell me that this somehow hurts Bron Breakker, that this somehow buries Bron Breakker, that he wrestled, again, one of the most popular stars in the company, and it took 2 Uso splashes and 3 spears to beat this man. Like, do you realize that? It took 2 splashes and 3 spears, one of which was through the timekeeper's barricade outside, to finally put down Bron Breakker. And these people want to call this a burial? The only thing that is buried is your brain beneath the earth. I don't know where it is. You can dig it up and try to find it. I don't know if it's going to work anymore, but give me a break. Okay? It took everything but the kitchen sink this man threw at Bron Breakker to have to beat this man in the end. But he puts him in the ring. He goes back up to the top rope and hits the Uso splash again. And this time, he pinned Bron Breakker. And for the first time in his career, 14 years on the WWE roster, Jey Uso is a singles champion in this company. And Joe Tessitore on commentary, he had a good line about Jey always being the twin, right? He's the twin. It's Jimmy and Jey, Jey and Jimmy. And so now here, for the first time in his career, he can stand on his own 2 feet. And he wins a championship and holds gold by himself. Didn't need anybody else's help. Didn't need his brother. Didn't need the bloodline. He did it all on his own. Jey immediately left the ring, headed up into the crowd because they were running low on time. It was like 10:59. So they were running low on time. They set off some pyro, and then they quickly cut the show off because you're not allowed to have an overrun. Not allowed to have an overrun on Monday nights. Not for a while. If ever there was a time for an overrun, even if just for a couple of minutes, tonight really was the night. Because this was a big moment. And it really needed some time to breathe. They should have been able to show a replay of it and then go back and show Jey celebrating in the crowd with everybody. And they just didn't have time for it. It felt very rushed. That was the most unfortunate part of this whole thing. It was a big moment that should have been bigger than it was, but because of the time constraints, it wasn't able to be. And I hope that they can upload, I don't know if anything happened, but they could upload maybe a fuller segment to the YouTube channel. So that would really be my only critique of it. I thought the match was good. I thought the finish, though, was well done. And I thought it was a crowd-pleasing finish. Everybody was very happy. But again, like, this was something that needed to happen for Jey. Forget Bron for a second, just for Jey. Not that he would have been dead if he didn't win. But it just would have been, I feel like tonight would have been that match where a lot of people would have looked at it and went, all right, like, what are we doing here? You know, like, this guy, he never wins the big one. Talks a big talk, but he can't get the job done. So I feel like for his credibility, if he's going to keep going out there and saying that, I don't need my family, I'm going to win my first singles title, he has to deliver on that. You can't promise that over and over. I'm going to win the world title. I'm going to win this title. I'm going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase and not deliver at some point. That's why I said, don't just assume that because Braun hasn't been champion for very long and they see him as the future, that he's going to hold on to that thing until WrestleMania. Would not at all shock me to see them do a title change on this show, and that's exactly what they did. And again, very cool that, he now holds the same title that his father held. Rikishi only had it for about 16, 17 days. Wasn't very long. I don't think that Jey Uso will have it for 16 days. I think it'll be longer than that, but not that much longer. I just don't see Jey having it for months and months, right? I mean, I could be wrong, but I don't get that vibe. But again, for anybody questioning the impact on Bron Breakker, it's not going to have any negative impact on Bron Breakker. Bron Breakker did not lose to a scrub. Bron Breakker got pinned clean, but was it really clean though? If you want, people are going to say, I can't believe that he lost clean. And yeah, he lost clean in that, it's not like people ran in or there was outside weapons being brought in or anything like that. Jey hooked the tights. He held onto the ropes for leverage. But again, they protected Bron. If you really pay attention, they protected him. They told you on commentary all the moments where, he was being, because of his inexperience or because of just him being over exuberant, that he was just not taking this seriously. And then the fact that it takes 3 spears and 2 splashes to put him away tells you, in the viewer's mind, it's supposed to tell you that, okay, it took Jey Uso a lot to put this guy down. The average wrestler is not going to be able to put down Bron Breakker, but Jey Uso can, because Jey Uso is selling merch like crazy, and Jey Uso is on fire right now with the fans. You don't even have to like Jey Uso. You don't have to like his matches, but you can't deny that the guy's fucking over. So it kind of made sense what they did. And now, if Braun comes back and he just fucking destroys Jey, I don't get the sense he's going to show up and murder him next week. But if in the end he beats Jey and gets the belt back, then hey, he's right back where he was before, and no harm, no foul. The key is always in the follow-up. Hopefully they have a direction for Braun, and he's not just going to wander aimlessly like a Dragon Lee. I don't think they're going to treat him the way they treat Dragon Lee. So I'm not worried. I'm really not. We know Bron Breakker is their big prospect for the future. We know that he's going to be a world champion one day, and he's going to headline. He'll headline more WrestleMania main events than Jey Uso will. Okay, put it that way. Jey Uso has 1 WrestleMania main event to his name. Bron Breakker is going to have a lot more than 1. I'm not worried about him. On the whole, though, I thought it was a solid show. The key stories are set for Bad Blood. I don't really see the card expanding. Obviously, they're doing Reed and Strowman on TV next week, so I'm looking forward to that. The New Day story continues to play itself out. Punk and McIntyre, they did what they had to do for the final sell. I mean, we have 1 more Raw left, so I don't know if there's going to be a contract signing next week. But what else is left for them to do? They've cut all these promos on each other. They've trolled each other on social media. They've told you now that each of them are going to make the other person bleed. They've made that promise to you. So I don't know what else you could expect from them other than what we got from these promos. I thought that was fine. And then we had the main event. So overall, a good show with the crowd-pleasing ending that might shock some people, but not this guy. I told you there was a good chance this would happen. What did you think of Raw with Uso versus Breakker? 87.6% thumbs up. 12.4% thumbs down. With well over 1,100 votes in so far. At Solomonster on X is where you can go to let me know what you thought about this show and that main event. Hey, it's Slinko coming in with a super chat. What's going on, Slinko? He's buzzed. Shocking outcome. Are you actually? I thought you were actually buzzed. Maybe he's not actually. I wish I was buzzed. It would have made this show more fun. All right, let's take a look at your super chats here. See what you guys thought of this show here tonight. All right, let's take it back to the beginning, and we will start with our friend Sidro, the jokester himself. Sidro says the inventor of autocorrect died. The funnel will be held tomato. Also, whoever stole my copy of Microsoft Office, I'll find you. You have my word. Oh my god. It hurts. Almost physically hurts. The real CS with the $9.99. With the New Day, I think they're going to keep teasing a split, but I think it leads to a match. You don't have to split them up or have one turn on the other, but have them fight it out like men. Yeah, I mean, that's entirely possible. No actual full-blown turn, but we get a match between Kofi and Woods at some point, and then the inevitable patching up of their differences. By the way, somebody, shout out to Omega on Twitter. He sent me some, I don't know, Omega, I don't know if you're with us tonight, but you sent me something the other day, and I'm gonna actually do it here on the stream. I'm gonna play it. It's a quiz. He sent me a link to something and said I should do it on the air, see if I could beat the time, whatever it is. I'll bring it up in a second. So, in addition to Be the Booker, which I believe we have already qualified for, I think I might actually take this quiz here live on the air, see how I do. So that should be interesting, so stay tuned for that. Prince Vegeta. Drew deserves to win this feud, and this is coming from a longtime CM Punk fan. Promo and character-wise, Drew has just been doing better. Well, you know, though, I'm warming to the idea of Drew moving over to SmackDown, though. And so for Punk to win and Drew to go to SmackDown, I think would be the better way to go. Plus, if you're going to do Punk and you're going to do Rollins or WrestleMania, Punk can't leave Raw. But if McIntyre loses, what does he do? Right? What does he do? And how does he coexist on the same show with CM Punk, this man that he hates so much? So I kind of feel like you need to separate them. They need to be split up and spread apart coming out of the show. And if anybody is going to leave Raw, it's not going to be CM Punk. As long as Roman and Cody are on the other show, you need Punk on the opposite show. You don't want to overload one show with all your top baby faces, because that would be ridiculous. And SmackDown needs some fucking heels right now. Feels like the timing is perfect for McIntyre to make a jump. Prince Vegeta says, I still maintain, all these months later, that skinny fat Seth Rogen should not have been the one to beat Gunther for the Intercontinental title. Huge erection. Oh my god. You predicted Brock versus Gunther at WrestleMania. But do you see either Brock, Orton, or Rock winning the Royal Rumble? If it is Brock and Gunther, do you not see them putting the title on Seth and Punk in their feud instead? I just find it hard to believe that Gunther is going to drop that belt before WrestleMania. Jerome Eugenio, American Made finally win a match. This probably makes them #1 contenders for the tag team titles. You're probably right. They won one match. Because we apparently Sami and Jey are not going for the tag team titles like they originally said they would. Apparently that idea is out the window. But yeah, I neglected to mention the fact that something very big happened tonight, which is that American Made actually won a friggin' match. Should have had pyro just for that alone. Forget the main event. Fire Panda dropped a $51 coal tar bomb. Oh my goodness, Fire Panda, you may be the only one to set the bomb off tonight, but there it is, just for you. I don't want to hear any more complaining from Big Quiche. Speaking of Big Quiche, I can't wait for his match against Will Ospreay. Big Quiche is all elite. Yes, apparently Fire Panda sent me a screenshot. What was that you were using to translate? He was something that translated the podcast from Sunday. And I was talking about Will Ospreay and Ricochet, and apparently it thought I said Rikishi. So it was talking about a match between Will Ospreay and Rikishi, which I'll tell you right now, that would be the best match of Rikishi's career. But Fire Panda, thank you very much. Apple Podcast. Okay, so Apple Podcast was doing the transcription and thought that Ricochet was Rikishi because they look so much alike. Yuri, could they be using this Jey win to see how much people really support it? Maybe to see if they can do more with Jey. I mean, there's nothing to see. People are already supporting Jey. This is more of a reward for all of that support. David Thiering with the $11. Can't think of a more appropriate time for this super chat than right now. Yeet. Much love, Solo. Much love right back at you, David. Yuri says, do you feel him, sir? Tonight I do. I do feel him tonight. Andre Johnson, thanks for keeping me sane at listening to you at work while driving my route. Keep up the good work, Solo. And when should I get Mania tickets? Should I wait later or closer to the event day? I mean, that really boils down to how much money you want to spend and where you want to sit. If you just want to be at WrestleMania, then wait. If you want really good seats at Mania, then I wouldn't wait. I'm almost afraid to even look at how much they're charging for decent seats. But yeah, I mean, that would be my advice. It really boils down to your preference and what you're looking for. Some people are content to just go and sit in the nosebleeds as long as they're there. In which case, you don't have to rush. It's a big stadium. But if you want decent seats, I wouldn't wait too long. Slinko was there with a friend. Jay shocked us tonight. A W Raw. So Slinko was actually at the show. That's very cool. We've got Irenzo. If we ever get a promo with Solo and Roman as to why Solo stole the bloodline, I want Solo to say that he did it for The Rock. And The Rock comes out. You know, that would be actually the perfect way to do that. That would be genius if they did that. Mark Q the Mark. Not only do I have to deal with the American NyQuil on SmackDown, now I have to deal with Jey Uso as Intercontinental Champion on Raw. Sucks to be me. Yes, it does. The American NyQuil. I like. That's very clever. The American NyQuil. S. McPhee 101. So happy for the Yeet Master. Breakker may be new to the main roster, but is already putting big stars over. He's a Saiyan through and only gets stronger. I'm sure I butchered that word. Andre Johnson with the $9.99. Thanks for keeping me sane at work while driving my route. Keep up the... Oh. That's listed here twice. Andre... I think it's listed... It is listed twice. Andre, thank you. I hope I answered your question the first time. I don't know why that's here twice. Sidro. Oh boy, here we go. Sidro says, why is British pronounced British? Because they drink the tea. Also, once knew a guy who had his abandoned rock quarry repossessed by the bank. They took it for granite. P.S. Thanks for hearing my music. I did listen to your music. Sidro is he's a man of many talents. And it was very good. But that British one is, wow. Why is it pronounced British? Because they drink the tea. God. Daniyasu. Leave Vince alone, Solo. He's just Vince. He is rescuing kittens and puppies. What a guy. No, actually, he's probably doing something else to kittens and puppies that we won't talk about. Thank you, Donnie. Yuri with the 5. Vince is a sicko, and no PR statement he tries will change that. Uffman Entertainment with the $40 super chat. Well, I'd say that qualifies as a bomb. Tonight it does. Bombs away from Uffman. Why does Netflix and Solomonster hate Vince? Why are they Vince haters? Thank you, Uffman. Raph. Only time I'm sad that Pat is not doing the calls. Oh my god, he would have been insufferable tonight. Are you kidding me? We're at 451 likes. Hey, you know what? Let's see if we could hit 500 tonight on the live feed. Yuri, does anyone remember the old WCW figure combo set of Kevin Nash and Rey Mysterio where they made Rey so small and cheaper than the Nash figure? Why? Because he was small and not as big of a star as Kevin Nash. Ergo, the Nash figure should be bigger than the Rey figure. Seems pretty obvious to me. A mini bomb. David said the $40 one was a mini bomb. It was a hand grenade. I like that. That's a little hand grenade there. Hisco 95. According to Fightful, it seems the tag team match will be the main event for Bad Blood. Not surprised, though. I think the Hell in a Cell should have had that spot. Do you think something big happens in the tag match, like a KO heel turn? It feels like something big is going to happen for it to close the show like that. I think they have something planned. I don't know what it is. Josiah, thank you for the 5. Sidro, WrestleMania 41. Braun versus Bronson. Book it. My God. It's a reviewer's nightmare. William Valencia with the 10 spot. Thank you, Solo, for the content. It's a good distraction as my father is currently battling cancer. And it's been a tough few months. Wrestling has been our escape as he is a huge Cody and Jey fan. Well, who was it that sent that super chat in before me? Hold on. Who was it? Mark? It was Mark. Mark Q the Mark is not going to be happy. Apparently, Cody and Jey are not his favorites. But William, I'm very sorry to hear about your dad. I hope that he is doing as well as he could possibly be doing. I mean, I know in that situation, you don't say that you hope they're doing well per se, just because, you know, obviously they're going through something that is horrible and terrible, but hopefully he is holding up well. And you too, because look, you know, and I speak from experience on this. In those types of situations, it's the worst for the person who's actually going through whatever it is they're going through. But sometimes I feel like the family members and caretakers, they also like they need some positive vibes too, because they go through a lot of shit in these situations and it takes a toll. So just keep your head up and just do the best you can. Fire Panda with the 20. Thank you, Fire Panda. Solo, have you seen the video on YouTube for Big Bill Hell's Carlot? Or as it's more commonly known as, fuck you Baltimore. It's so funny. Eat. No. I have no idea what that is. If it's a video, though, you can link me. I'll take a look at it. If that's a real thing. Stan the Man. Howdy, Solo. Hope you're having a nice day. I am, Stan. I am, very much. I hope you are, too. Yuri, Gunther versus Lance Archer. If he wasn't so killed by the booking, would be fun. Well, Lance Archer is just there for jobber duty, basically. That's his job. That's what Tony Khan uses him for. He dusts him off every now and then. Doesn't even come out with Jake Roberts anymore. They signed Jake to another contract. They don't even use him. But, yeah, in another world, I think Lance Archer would have been a cool opponent for Gunther. Yuri, when are you appearing on Up Up Down Down to face Woods in 2K? Hey, whenever he wants to have me on. What a disaster that would be, by the way. Yuri says, I've been trying to go back and relive some Ring of Honor glory years. What 3 years would you say is their best? Separate is fine. I mean, I'm a little biased to the early years that I started watching, which was 2006, 2007, 2008. I would say 07, 08, 09. But I might be a little biased in that. There was a lot of great stuff. I mean, in what year would it have been? 2011, maybe? The Ladder War with Steen and Jericho. I think maybe it was 2011. I don't remember what year that was. But there was so much good stuff in 07, 08, and 09. I mean, the Joe and Kobashi match, I think, was from 05. But you can't go wrong with a lot of the stuff from that time period. Chris Mikesell. Hey, Harry. Shout out to Harry. I'm doing well, Harry. I hope you are, too. Chris Mikesell. Hope you are doing well. My son loved the new Transformers movie. Back then, which show did you prefer, Transformers or Thundercats? Much love. I was a Thundercats kid. I did not watch Transformers. I always watched Thundercats. So I knew Lion-O and Mumura, the whole gang there. Love Thundercats. Ric Flair these days kind of reminds me of Mumura. Yuri, prime young Ring of Honor's Samoa Joe against Jacob Fatu, please. Me too. Sign me up. Kung Fu Joseph. Yeet Man, new Intercontinental Champion. Hopefully Rikishi will shut up now about them holding down the Yeet Man. I don't know. I did not see the clip. I just saw the headline, so I could be wrong, but from what I saw, and I don't know what he was arguing here, but there was a headline today that said Rikishi said that Jacob Fatu is being pushed too quickly. He's being pushed too hard, too fast in WWE. Really? Is he only saying that because he didn't give birth to him? How many singles matches has Jacob Fatu had so far on TV? None. So him being in the bloodline is him being pushed too fast? Give me a fucking break. See, but when you have a podcast or a new podcast, I don't know how old his podcast is. I've only been hearing about it because of these rants and these insane takes. So I think he knows what he's doing when he makes these statements. Base Beerus, they could not help themselves. Bronson. That would never happen if Vince was still around. Yuri, Curiosity Curiosity? You mean curious? Since you work with HOG, who do you have to talk to say get a swerve, or is that solely the talent booking themselves? I mean, it could be different for different people, but you talk to the talent. And if talent has to get something cleared through the company and through the lawyers, then they clear it with them, and then it's all worked out. But it's through the talent. Alex with the 22. Brother Solo, is there a specific WWE pay-per-view that you remember watching in its original unedited format where today it would be heavily altered on Peacock to the point where it would be unwatchable? Well, most of those shows from the 80s and all that great music from Jimmy Hart and whoever it was that was producing the music with him, so much of that music is now dubbed over. The Demolition theme, the original Ravishing Rick Rude theme. I mean, there's a bunch of other ones too, but I wouldn't say it's unwatchable, but it definitely makes them less fun than they used to be. But if you want the content that's on Peacock right now, that I would say is probably more unwatchable than anything else because of being edited. If you were a fan of those original ECW television shows...
I am the
Shut the fuck up! Fuck that tree. If you were a fan of those original ECW television shows, all that music is gone. I mean, those shows, it was all about the music. You know, it just fit the vibe of that time, and now it's just all dubbed over. So if you still have those tapes somewhere, if you are someone who has them recorded on VHS, you better hold on to that. That stuff is like gold. And then you can convert them to digital, but I would say the ECW stuff. Uffman Entertainment, last monster standing match will main event next Monday night because the show will end with the ring collapsing. But then you know who will win the last monster standing match? This guy right here. I will be the last monster standing. Yuri, thank you, Hilton. I think it was with Rollins. I have no idea what that's in reference to. I have no idea what that's in reference to.
By the power of Valhalla.
Oh, he's back.
It's vintage coal tar.
Coal Tar has returned. And the bomb was dropped. Thanks to the mighty Coal Tar. Thank you, Fire Panda. Sidro, Seth thrown over. He was put over in this angle. Oh, T.Y. Hilton. What? Wait, hold on. Who's T.Y. Hilton? T.Y. Hilton, I think it was. Oh, okay. I have no idea. What the fuck am I supposed to know who that is? I see T period Y period. I thought you were saying thank you. I thought there was somebody in the live chat named Hilton. You were thanking them for answering your question or something. I'm like, fuck am I supposed to know who that is? T.Y. Hilton. Oh yeah, he's my favorite player. I don't even know what sport he plays. What does he play? Basketball? T.Y. Hilton? Okay, so T.Y. Hilton was the guy who threw Seth Rollins over the wall at the Bears game the other day. I assume he used to play for the Chicago Bears, so maybe he was a football player. Sidro, thank you. Retro KOH. Back from the hospital after a minor surgery. Great to find out Jey Uso is finally a singles champion. Yeet. Retro, I hope that it went well. I hope everything's okay. I'm glad it was minor, but that still sucks. Oh, he's a Colt. Okay. So he's a retired Indianapolis Colts receiver. Okay. I'm glad we cleared that up, because I read that completely wrong. Uffman Entertainment did Larry beg Punk? No, but I'm sure Larry was treated like a king, man. He was probably, you know what he was probably doing? He was probably hanging out in the women's locker room, parked himself in there. He knows what he's doing. Larry knows what he's doing. Yuri, I need a job that lets me get the Roman and Brock schedule. Seems unfair. If they get it, it's good for them, man. Company gives it to you. What are you going to say? No? Slinko, buzzed. Shocking outcome. W Live Raw. Love you, Solo. I think Slinko is a little buzzed, guys. Alex says, can you see, out of jealousy, the bloodline causing Jey to lose his inevitable rematch with Braun, which leads Jey to get involved with the bloodline? Again, no, I don't really. There's got to be more to it than that. Just out of nowhere, oh, they're jealous that he's champ. What do they care? Like it. I just don't think that's enough. There has to be more to it than that. Now, if Jey were to come out on TV next week and cut a promo and did more than just say yeet every 3 seconds, and he actually cut a promo, and in the course of that promo, he talked about how, you know, I did it without my family. I had to stand on my own and prove that I could do it myself without their help, and I didn't need them, and I feel like I've been in their shadow. Like, if he cuts a promo where it almost sounds like he's taking a shot at them, then okay, that would make sense. Something has to be said, though, to trigger that kind of reaction from the bloodline. Otherwise, to me, I'm sorry, to me, it just feels forced. Hey, Sidro, thank you. Yuri, lighthearted silliness. When you would eat it. Favorite fast food spot? Roy Rogers. I used to love Roy Rogers. I used to love their chicken. Used to love they had a Fixins bar. And their pickles, too. Their pickles were great. Apparently, there are still some Roy Rogers restaurants out there. There's just not very many of them, but at some like old rest stops and stuff, you could still find Roy Rogers in some places. Not around here, though. They ain't here anymore. Now it's all Popeyes, and I love Popeyes too, but I gotta go Roy Rogers. Paul Carpenter, what's the story between Vader and Will Ospreay's match? I think it was born out of social media, and you know, was it Rev Pro that did it? And I think the promoters just was like, hey, let's make some money off this. I think that was the basic story behind it. Alex with the 10. Can you see the content in the Vince documentary shedding some light on Brock's involvement with the case and whether or not it will be appropriate to bring him back sooner rather than later? I don't think Brock is going to be mentioned at all in the documentary. I don't think they're going to get into the Janelle Grant stuff beyond just the surface information that we know. I think that it was tacked on late. I think it will be covered. It will be mentioned. They have the reporters who broke the story in the Wall Street Journal. I know they're interviewed for this. I don't know that they're going to spend that much time on it, though. It has to be mentioned, but I really don't think they're going to get too far into the weeds on that, to the point where Brock is mentioned. Brock is not named in the lawsuit. I think people think like Brock is named in the lawsuit, the Janelle Grant suit. He's not. There's a reference to someone who clearly is him, but his name is never actually mentioned, and the two of them never actually met. So I don't know why would Brock be mentioned in the documentary. Christian Ray with the 5. Isn't it crazy how much heat Seth versus Punk has, and they've only gotten physical once since last November? Well, we know the reason for that. They would have gotten physical a lot sooner than that. But no, I mean, the heat is still simmering there. So that to me is the WrestleMania match next year. Slinko, I am buzzed. Went with a friend. Good show. Love you, Solo. I love you too, brother. Make sure you drink plenty of water before you go to bed tonight. Trust me. You can thank me tomorrow. RDS Harry, great review. Buy or sell. Better moment, Daniel Bryan winning the WWE title at WrestleMania 30 or Cody winning the title at WrestleMania 40? I'm going to go Cody winning the title at WrestleMania 40. But they were both great moments. Again, I was there for the first one, so I had a different experience than just watching it on TV. But the Cody thing just felt more epic. You know, and it had been building for longer. And all the cameos and everything. It was overbooked, but like it was overbooked in like the best possible way. Gape. Oh, you almost got me there. You almost got me there. Very nice. Gape. Our boy Gape is with us. Thank you very much, Gape. I'm not reading that. Sidro with the 5. Why do ducks have tails? To hide their butt quacks. Also, have you ever played quiet tennis? It's the same as regular tennis, but without the racket. Where are you getting these from? What book did you buy? Sidro, my new track out called Clear Lit Sky on my SC. Luis, we want Uso. Yeet, 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 yeet. Luis is very happy after Jey Uso won the Intercontinental title tonight. It's the Book of Sidro. Okay. Where can I buy this book? You sell it for 50 cents? It probably costs more to ship it than it does for the actual book. You can buy it off Amazon for 50 cents. It'll cost $5 to ship it. Retro KOH, did you hear about the long line of grapes on the road? They caused a traffic jam. Fire Panda with another $51 super chat. Solo, I don't know how to tell you this. I don't think Rikishi can give birth. Really? I didn't know that. Thank you, Fire Panda. Boney, with all these Samoans coming into WWE, how long does the Bloodline story go for before it loses steam? Does Rock versus Roman conclude all of it? I think that no, I don't. I think the Samoan story arc with all the members of the family, I think it will continue indefinitely. I think that they see it as a money angle that they could continue indefinitely because there are so many different players involved. And some who haven't even debuted yet. So why end it? It will eventually lose steam, and eventually they'll have to break away and do their own thing, but this could be something they carry on for another couple of years. Like, I don't see this ending anytime soon. David Thiering says, question for you, Commissioner. Any shot JBL shows up with a Nick Nemeth at Hog in October? Can't wait to see Nick Nemeth on HOG regardless. Well, now, if he was going to show up with him and I knew, which at the moment I don't, I wouldn't tell you anyway. You'll have to tune in to find out. But yes, Nick Nemeth is making his House of Glory debut on October 18th. The TNA World Heavyweight Champion is going to be in HOG the same night that Masato Tanaka is coming in to challenge Mike Santana for the world title. Masato Tanaka, the legendary Masato Tanaka, coming in for the first time. See, we're making moves, man. We're bringing in current stars, legends. We got all kinds of people. You never know who's going to show up. Joe Hendry, this Sunday, Joe Hendry, coming to House of Glory. We're going to be singing the song. He's going to be singing his song. I'm going to be singing my song to the tune of his song, which is the $150 super chat here. I believe in the monster. That's what I'll be singing on Sunday. Sidro. Oh my God, Sidro. I used to be addicted to the hokey pokey, but then I turned myself around. You know, I used to sing that as a young boy. I used to do the dance too. I'm not going to do it for you now, but I used to dance the hokey pokey. I used to do the chicken dance too. I have that on video. It will never see the light of day. Also, why don't skeletons skydive? They don't have the guts to do it. You're on a roll. This guy is on a roll here. Jeremy Rose, glad Jey finally got a title. Yeet. Retro, not everyone plans to be parents. It happens at the sperm of a moment. All it takes is one. All it takes is one little guy to make his way into the egg. That's it. Yuri, there was a Roy Rogers out here in Suffolk, South Shore, Long Island, forever. Ironically, as you said, Popeyes took over. Yes, pretty much what happened. Roy Rogers went away and Popeyes just started popping up everywhere. Sidro, what do you call a cow with only 2 legs? Lean beef. And Yuri says we need Solomonster on Hey EW or just in general sparring with RJ City. I like RJ City. I like the interviews that he does. He did one with Ricky Steamboat that was fun. He did one with Ishii, where Ishii just sat there staring at him. And, Yuri says, verbal smartass sparring, of course. LOL. Did this guy get the magic joke belt from Sabrina the Teenage Witch? Where where Hillary had to tell 1,000 jokes to remove the belt. Maybe he's been cursed. He's been cursed. He has a certain number of jokes he has to tell to lift the curse. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. It's a lot of jokes though. Thank you guys for all the super chat love. We are currently sitting at 483 likes, so a little shy of 500. We're close, but we're not there yet. So go ahead and hit that like button right now, though. Since we did hit our goal, it is time for everyone's favorite segment, and then we're going to get to that quiz. So we have actually 2 segments left here to do, but right now let's be the booker.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to be the booker.
Here's the Yeet Man himself. Our new champion. All right, Tag Team Be the Booker is how we are going to kick things off. But what kind of a night is it going to be? We got the Rhodes brothers, Cody and Dustin. Cody and Goldust in this case. Kicking us off, the former Raw Tag Team Champions. Look at those penny belts. Fucking hate those belts. Ugh. All right, the Rhodes boys. Not a bad way to kick things off here. And they are going to be stepping into the ring with the Body Donnas. You know, the belts that you see the Body Donnas holding here are much better than the belts that Cody and Goldust had. The Body Donnas win this just for the belts they have alone. Just for that alone, they win. All right, women's Be the Booker. I feel like we've landed on the Body Donnas a few times recently. We have to change that. That can't continue. All right, women's Be the Booker. We begin with Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross. Now with the Wyatt Six, who were not on the show tonight in the building. But Nikki Cross is a part of the Wyatt Six. This is sanity Nikki Cross. This is crazy Nikki Cross here. A UO with the $2. He's excited for TNT tomorrow night. I'm very happy that you're excited. I'm excited too. It's going to be a good show. I hope to see you there. So Nikki Cross is going to take on Nikki Cross. Uh-oh. We have ourselves a mirror match. Crazy Nikki against Crazy Nikki could actually be very entertaining. Have we ever had one of those here in Women's Be the Booker? I know we've had that with Men's Be the Booker, but have we actually had that with Women's Be the Booker, where we've landed on exactly the same person? Again, what are the chances of this? Yeah, I give that the bell. I actually think that would be a good match. It's the multiverse match. That's right. Nikki Cross against Nikki Cross. Yuri says, popcorn or candy at the movies? Recently, nothing, actually, because I've been the last couple of movies I've seen, I usually go before dinner. Went to go see the Beetlejuice movie, which was okay. It was good. It wasn't great. It was good. But I went to the 4:00 showing. It was perfect. There were like 7 other people in the theater. I love it. I love it that way. When the movie was over, I went to go eat dinner. See, that's the beauty of being able to make your own schedule. But when I do eat at the movie theater, it's popcorn. No butter. No butter, just popcorn. All right, here we go. Main event time. Add a stipulation, says David. I'll tell you what I'll do. We will add a stipulation for this main event match. We will add a stipulation, okay? But let's I don't know, maybe we'll do that first. What do you think? All right, we'll do that first. We'll do that first. Let's pick the stip first. Brian Alex, thank you for the $2. Hog needs a TV deal now. Hey, David Zaslav, you got some of that NBA money you're not using, right? You're throwing it around, right? Come talk to us. Let's have a conversation. We'll break bread. We'll talk turkey. I'll regale you with stories of when I used to do the chicken dance and do the hokey pokey when I was a kid. All right, here we go. Let's pick a step. What kind of a match is this main event going to be? It is going to be an Iron Man match. A 60-minute Iron Man match. Well, this is going to have to be a very particular match as far as who we land on here to make this work. Some people, I think, would do very well in a 60-minute Iron Man match. Some people should not be in a 60-minute match. 60-minute matches are tough to do. Oh, no. We have landed on Mantar. You know, I'm not even... it's over. It's over. It's over. That's it. It's over. I don't even have to pick the opponent. We are not doing Mantar in a 60-minute Iron Man. Are you fucking kidding me? I'll pick for you guys again, but it's over. It doesn't matter who I land on. It's over. It's already over. Mantar in a 60-minute Iron Man match. Well, you know. Nah. I thought about it. You land on Kurt Angle, and if anybody could save that, you think, well, maybe Kurt Angle can do it. But that's still 60 minutes of him in the ring having to get a fucking match out of Mantar. So I love Kurt. Kurt's the GOAT, but I'm sorry. That's still a buzz. Not even Kurt Angle can save that. Although Kurt Angle in a 60-minute Iron Man match, I mean, one he had with Brock was great. He had a 30-minute one with Shawn Michaels, right? Kurt's the Iron Man. Actually, he had a 30-minute submission match with Benoit, too, on a pay-per-view. But anyway, there you go. I wish it would have been a better situation, but that's as good as we can get for Be the Booker. We got a mirror match between Nikki Cross and Nikki Cross. And we had Mantar in a 60-minute Iron Man match. How's that for Be the Booker? Retro KOH. Two cannibals are eating a clown. One says to the other, does this taste funny to you? And Yuri. I work with a boss who interviews wrestlers, especially with Create-A Pro shows. Is Hog and Create-A Pro able to cross work? I'm not the one to make that decision ultimately, but I mean, anything's possible. We've worked with different companies before. We just ran a show out in Vegas with one of the local promotions out there. And when we ran Philadelphia WrestleMania week in April, we were working with Sami Callahan's promotion. So I won't say no, but ultimately I would not be involved in that conversation. Now, I told you that I got a tweet from a fan. We'll call him Omega. And he sent me a link to a quiz. And, you see these things occasionally, right? Take a wrestling quiz, right? This particular quiz, and I didn't even click the link initially. But then when I decided, because he asked me to do it on stream, I said, you know what? Maybe at the end of the stream we'll do it. So I only saw it for the first time when I clicked on it earlier to insert it in here. I have not taken this quiz.
It's the amazing Gunther.
We'll get to that in a second.
Jerry Lawler loves Gunther the Magnificent. All hail Gunther.
All hail the mighty Gunther. Jake Jones coming in here with a late $50 bomb. Oh my goodness. Bombs away, Jake Jones. Sorry for jumping in late. Work has been kicking my ass, but the tag team of Gunther and Jake have to show love. I was starting to think you guys were going to no-show tonight. Jake, I'm feeling the love. I love it. Thank you very much, brother. Very happy to hear from you and very happy to have your support. As always. Always good to hear the Gunther bomb go off here on the stream. So anyway, this is a quiz where you have, I think, 7 or 8 minutes, I think it is, to list every WWE champion ever. He thought that I would be the perfect person to take this quiz to see how well I would do. Can I name all of the champions and not miss any of them? I think it's 8 minutes long. So I said, you know what? Why don't I do it live with all of you? I don't need anybody's help. I'm not going to look at the chat. I'm just going to sit here and start typing names as they come to you and then they pop up on the list. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to test my knowledge and see how many WWE, and you guys can play along too if you want to. But let's try this. Let's see, how well can we do? Here it is. Here's the quiz. Now let me make sure I can interact with this thing here so we can get the party started here. Here we go. All right, so I guess I click that little button and the timer will then begin. This is going to be very interesting because my mind is very encyclopedic, but how many are we talking about here? How many slots are here? I don't even know if they list them all, but 55. It's 55. Okay, so there's 55 So here we go. I'm going to do it in front of you guys, and we're going to see how well I do. And we begin. All right. Let's get to it. Of course, you know I'm going to say Bret Hart first. See, now I'm going to misspell all these things. All right. You had to know Bret was going to be the first, right? You had to know. Now, this is just WWE champions. Yes, it does include WWF as well. We're not talking World Heavyweight Champions or any other promotion. This is strictly WWE. So we have Bret Hart. We have Shawn Michaels, naturally, of course. You know what? I'll start with the early ones. I'll start with some of the early ones here. We know Bruno, right? We know Bruno will be on that list. We got Ivan Koloff. We got Pedro Morales. We got Bob Backlund. We got Buddy Rogers, the first ever WWE champion. I got 7 of them so far. I got 7 of them. All right, that's good. That's a good start. Oh, God, there's more early ones. Who the hell am I missing from the early ones? Shit. Billy Graham. All right, we got Billy Graham. Iron Sheik, of course. Who the hell am I missing between Pedro and... Oh, God, who am I missing? Who am I missing? Oh, Stan Stasiak, right? Sean Stasiak's dad. There you go. The Heart Punch. Stan Stasiak and the Heart Punch. All right, so we got 10. Of course, we got Hulk Hogan. As I continue to mistype this. Randy Savage. Ultimate Warrior. Andre the Giant. See, this is what I grew up on. This era right here. So I need to get all these guys. We got Diesel. We got Yokozuna. We got Ric Flair. We got Sergeant Slaughter. Nope. The type is so small on my screen. I can't even see when I misspell a word. Shit, I'm running out of time. All right, that's 18 out of 55. Boy, this is tough. There's a lot of names here. I'm going to start jumping around, so I hope this doesn't fuck me up here. Kurt Angle, Brock Lesnar, Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H. Did I get him? I think I got him. Mankind, Undertaker, Kane, of course, had his 24 hours as the champion. You can't forget Kane. Big Show, Brock Lesnar. Did I write him already? I guess I wrote him already. JBL. Alberto Del Dip Shit. No? Okay, I got to type in his actual name. Alberto Del Rio. Rob Van Dam. John Cena. I hear he held a few titles. Randy Orton. Man, am I misspelling this? Randy Orton. Edge. Chris Jericho. Eddie Guerrero. Am I running out of time? I'm running out of time. Bobby Lashley. All right. The Miz. Kofi Kingston. CM Punk. I'm jumping around eras here. Daniel Bryan. Oh God, who am I forgetting? We got 3 minutes and 40 seconds. Who am I? Oh, Big E. Big E. Did I say RVD? Rob Van Dam. I said him already, right? Oh God. The Maharaja. The fuck is his name? I forgot his name. Oh my God. Oh, Jinder Mahal. There you go. I forgot his fucking name. AJ Styles. Oh, Jesus. This is tough because I'm trying to. All right. If I do this in my brain by WrestleMania, Sheamus was champion, right? Can't forget Sheamus. Okay, we're close. Oh, we're so close. Cody Rhodes, obviously. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Dean Ambrose, Batista. Who am I missing? 2 minutes and 20 seconds we have left here. Oh, 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Who did I forget? I know I forgot. I just know I forgot some early Oh, Vince. Of course. Vince McMahon. Like in my brain, I'm going back by year. Diesel was 95. 96 was Sid. Psycho. Sid. All right, so we got the entire left column. 98. God, we had Austin, we had Rock, we had Triple H, Kane. I said them all, right? God, 2004 was Eddie, JBL, Batista. I said 2006. Oh, Jeff Hardy. Okay, 2008 we had Cena, Orton, Edge. I said Sheamus, Alberto, RVD, Kofi, Big E, Daniel Bryan. Did I say Punk? CM Punk? I think I did, right? Yeah, CM Punk. Oh my God, we have a minute left. I'm gonna run out of time. Oh God, who else? Were there some like short term? Oh, Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was champion for like an hour. Okay. Oh shit, Bray. God, that's right, Bray in the Elimination Chamber. Oh my God, I have one left. Who is a champion? Jack Swagger. No, he was the world champion. Jack Swagger was the world champion. Dolph Ziggler was never WWE champion. I said, wait, Mankind. Oh, no, I said Mankind. Oh my God, who am I forgetting? I said Drew. I said Lashley, Roman, Seth, Ambrose. Did I say McIntyre? I have Lashley. This is so small. I can't even tell if I said McIntyre or not. Drew McIntyre. No, I ran out of time. What the fuck? I typed in Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre is the one that I missed. I typed it in. Are you kidding me? I just typed in Drew McIntyre. Did I misspell it? Oh, that's bullshit. That is such bullshit. Dude, I typed his name in. Oh my God. I got 54 out of 55. That should count. I'm sorry. That's bullshit. That is bullshit. That should absolutely count. That is a crock of shit. Again, the type was so small, like when I would misspell a word, I couldn't tell. I thought I typed it incorrectly. I spelled it wrong. Well, obviously I spelled it wrong. What did I spell? Oh, Drew McIntyre. Anyway, I'd say I still did pretty well. 54 out of 55 is nothing to sneeze at. It's a lot harder than you think, too, because even if you know them all, there's so many of them, and you don't know, did I say that person or not? And this person was a world champion, not a WWE champion. It's good for the brain, though. It gets you thinking, though. So anyway, Omega, wherever you are, I hope you were watching. Thank you for the suggestion. That was fun. That's going to annoy the crap out of me now that I missed one. I'm just not gonna get over that. Oh man. I'm surprised I remembered RVD. For some reason, I always forget that he was WWE champion. Yuri says Vader should have been champion. Yes, he should have. Vader should have been the champion in 96. Captain Charisma with the 10 spot says, woohoo, finally caught one of these live. Hello from Taiwan. Wow, all the way from Taiwan. Well, I'm glad you're able to join for that riveting quiz that we just did. It is funny, though, like, of all the people for me to forget, like, from that list, Drew McIntyre was actually on the show tonight. He was on the show. I just got done talking about him. And he's the one that I left out. I remembered fucking Ivan Koloff, but I forgot Drew McIntyre. Yuri, thank you for the $2 at Triple H. Yeah, I had Triple H in there. He says, technically, Brian Kendrick was. LOL. I get it. I still find it funny. Yeah, that was... I hate that scramble match. I was never a fan of that concept. This never worked for me. And Hydrograd with the 5. That was a bigger screw job than the Montreal screw job. Justice for Solo. I was screwed, dude. I was screwed. Like, I'll take the L. Apparently I misspelled it, but it's the thought that counts, though. Like, I realized that it was Drew, but then I got screwed. Poor Drew. He never got to be the WWE champion in front of actual fans. And then when he actually won the world title at WrestleMania this year, Punk fucked him out of it. This guy just can't catch a break. Thank you for hanging out with me here on a Monday night. I hope that you were sports entertained. I hope that was fun for you. As fun for you as it was for me. I'm going to be live with you back here on this channel on Wednesday night. We're going to talk Grand Slam. We got a big show. Are we going to get Bryan Danielson and Nigel McGuinness? I don't know. Apparently we may not. It's a very weird way of promoting the match, but we got a big Dynamite on Wednesday, and then, of course, SmackDown coming up on Friday night. And I will also be live with JD doing TNT tomorrow night. So a lot of content coming up in these next several days. I hope you will join for all of it, and then a big week next week, too. We won't even get into what's going on here next week. We got Raw, we've got NXT on CW, we've got... Actually, I won't be here for Dynamite next week. But I will be here on Wednesday. I hope you are, too. Hit that like button on your way out. Check out episode 880 of The Sound Off if you missed it this weekend. 2 hours long, a lot of ground covered, plus your questions. So please check out the podcast, and I will see you back here live on Wednesday night for Grand Slam. Until then, Drew McIntyre, you fucked me. I'll see you Wednesday.